out how this artist crammed all of Shakespeare into 3 minutes.
It's really interesting how they use that familiar format to like bring Shakespeare into the present day, you know, and make him relevant. And I think that's something that we see a lot with historical figures. Music and art sort of
definitely
revitalizes these people.
And this one jumps right in. Right. It starts with a verse about his life, like a quick summary, right? Stratford upon Avon, 37 plays, even Anne Hathaway gets a shout out. But it's the way it all flows together, it makes it stick.
And that's a really good point, because like you see that in both rap and in Shakespeare's plays. The use of language, the rhythm, the rhyme, it's all very deliberate. And I think it highlights how much both art forms rely on those things to really emphasize certain information.
It sneaks up on you, right? You're bobbing your head and then suddenly you're like, oh, I know things about Shakespeare now.
Exactly.
All right, but there's this one line about Shakespeare dropping out of school at 15. And this is something that always makes me wonder, because was that really dropping out back then?
Right. It's a really interesting question, because it really makes you think about the historical context. Because formal education was structured so differently, and oftentimes it was much shorter, and there was a heavier emphasis on apprenticeships than what we think of as dropping out today.
Much different than our modern school system.
Very different,
Okay, so then we get to the chorus, and honestly, this line will be stuck in my head for days.
You know what it is, William Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah, just really. And, you know, repetition, it's not just about being catchy or memorable. It's been a tool for emphasis and memorization for centuries. I mean, even Shakespeare used it.
True.
In his plays, right? To drive home these themes and make those lines memorable.
Totally. And speaking of memorable lines,
there's that one, 37 plays, no rest days.
Right.
Talk about a work ethic.
I know, it really makes you think, was he a workaholic? Was he just that passionate about it?
Right.
Maybe it was the pressure. Or, you know what? Maybe it was all of it. I mean, that's a lot of plays even for back then.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder how he did it all. Now, there's another line from the chorus, maybe his most famous, to be or not to be, that is the mystery. And it's just incredible to me how a line that old can still resonate so much.
Well, and it comes from Hamlet, right? And that line, it really sums up all these existential questions that we still ask ourselves, even now. Like, what's our purpose? Should we take action? What's the meaning of life? I mean, those are questions that don't really go away.
It's true.
And they're all about the choices we make and how uncertain we often are about them.
I think that's why Hamlet is still so popular today.
Oh, absolutely.
It really makes you want to go back and revisit it. Okay, so we've talked about the famous lines.
But I love how this rap also throws in some lesser-known quotes, like, in the bridge.
Oh.
It's not just the hits.
Like, for example, give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. I mean, especially today, that is such a relevant message. It's so true. We are constantly bombarded with information, right? And I think it's a good reminder for all of us to maybe listen more than we speak and try to understand before we make ourselves heard.
Right.
You know?
It's like a little life lesson tucked into a rap about Shakespeare.
I love it. It just goes to show that Shakespeare's wisdom goes beyond just like those top 10 famous quotes.
Totally. And this rap, I think, really highlights that.
For sure.
It makes it accessible and fun.
Absolutely. And it really just proves how powerful and influential his work still is and how much potential it still has to be reinterpreted for modern audiences.
So as you go forward from this deep dive,
remember, if we can learn about Shakespeare from a rap song, who knows what else is out there?
It's true.
Keep your mind open and see what other unusual learning experiences you can find. It could be anything, a video game, a sculpture.
Anything.
What can lead you to new knowledge?
Exactly.
Keep an open mind.
Absolutely.